Hi, I'm Ravnica.
Hi.
Oh, what? That-
Sorry.
I was about to. I was about to start my joke.
Well, because I wanted us to both say hi.
Okay.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ravnica's premier gay bar, the Breeding Pool.
That's disgusting. I hate that.
Good.
But I guess I. Hi, I'm a vampire. I'm a 2/3 vampire drag queen that apparently frequents the breeding pool with flying lifelink death drop vampire nightcock. Jazz.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
That was bad.
we let's be bad.
This was bad. I
Yeah,
but I you know what? I don't feel bad about it.
you should, but so should I, and I don't.
You should. You should feel very bad about yours.
Both of us are far too narcissistic to feel guilt.
Guilt, who is she? We don't know who
Who?
she is.
Whomst? Never felt that, never tasted that. But anyway, Jazz, what are we here for today?
We're here to record an episode.
An episode completely brand new, never,
Brand new episode.
never before
Um
recorded, and never before botched and ruined by yours truly. That never
yeah.
happened.
We're here to record an episode reviewing our favorite cards from the newest set, Kaldheim. But we did
Kaldheim.
a stipulation. We did a stipulation that we would only choose our favorite artifact, creature, instant, sorcery, planeswalker, enchantment, and land.
So one of every card type, basically. But also three gods on top of it, because gods are a big part of Kaldheim, and this wouldn't be an EDH podcast if we didn't talk about some cool legendary creatures. Of course, as you might know, the gods of Kaldheim are modal double fee FDPs. They're MDFCs. and
Wait, excuse me? Man, I just caught that. You're disgusting.
I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, so these gods have two sides to them. But these gods can be other permanent types, including but not exclusive to artifacts, enchantments, planeswalkers, and creatures. And also creatures. There's one that turns into a
You know,
creature.
it would have been really cool if like one of the gods was like on the other side was like an instant or
I was
sorcery.
I
That
was
would have been
thinking about
interesting.
that as I was going through it. We're probably eventually going to see that.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah. So
Well, other than DFCs in this set, what other mechanics did you enjoy when looking at all the spoilers?
well, the premier mechanic that everybody is talking about, the one that is stealing the show, it's snow, baby. Yeah, the snow mechanic has returned in Kaldheim, fittingly because it is a Viking and Nordic Bayard set, so it's very Scandinavian, it's very snowy, it's very frosty, it's very chilly. So we've got a brand new suite of snow cards to talk about, discuss, build around. We most notably have received for the first time a cycle of snow duels. Snools, as I like to refer to them.
We love a Snool.
Yes, these are snowlands that tap for two of any of the guild colors. There are 10 of them, and they enter the battlefield tapped. But what has got everybody in a tizzy is that they have the land types in their description, so they can be fetched up and searched with fetch lands.
Yeah. So, okay, I have a question for you, Ralph. In one word, in just one word, how do you feel about snow? It well, like not the general sense of snow, but in Magic, how do you feel about snow?
I love the flavor. Nope, that was not
That's
one
not
word.
one word.
That was not one word. Listen, I am a they them of many words. I guess in one word, I would say controversial.
I mean, yeah, that's true. Which
Yeah.
is, but
Um,
okay, but do you I don't know. What I'm getting at here is that I'm
does
the
does
more
Ralph
that I'm
does Ralph
like,
like snow? Is what you're asking.
yes.
Ralph loves snow, but Ralph
So
loves
okay,
I love snow for the flavor of it. But there just so happens to be a very incidental but not negligible competitive advantage to playing snow cards, just like over basic lands, just to get certain advantages with certain cards and certain strategies.
exactly. That's my issue here. Is that it basically eradicates basic lands
Yeah, which is a
from
bummer.
from a wholly flavor perspective. Snow is cool. It's awesome. But then when you realize it, you get more benefits from playing snow than not playing snow, then it's like why even run any basics? Why not just run snow all the time?
Right, exactly. There's no downside to it whatsoever. And there's only one hate bear for snowlands in this entire Kaldheim set, which we will get to later. And it's also going to affect every format. Snow basics have been popular in modern as a format, purely because of the incidental advantage they provide with no drawback whatsoever.
I mean, it was always
Specifics.
on my mind just thinking about it, but then I watched a video by EDH Redcast where they basically talked about snow, and it just really illuminated the situation where you're basically getting rid of basics. There's no reason for you to play basics at this point, but then it takes away some semblance of deck building where, I personally I do choose basic lands and their art based off the deck. Like if it's a deck that I really, really love, I will put in those full art Zendikar lands or even the unhinged lands, like the full art ones, if it's a deck that I truly love. But otherwise, I don't just stick any random basic lands. I typically like to choose basic lands that fit the commander's like plane. So, in my Akima deck, which is from Ikoria, all the basic lands are from Ikoria.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. It really does limit you aesthetically, which is something that a lot of commander players take pride in. The aesthetic of their decks. Like maybe they've got altars, maybe they've got promo cards, and sometimes maybe it's just as simple as the kind of basic land that you use. I myself am a thoughtless degenerate and just throw whatever basic lands I have in my shoebox. But in an ideal world where I was super prepared and like thought about consistency at all, I would definitely deck out my decks with lovely on theme lands.
So we both agree that snow is, I mean, in one word, controversial.
Yes.
So it is. I can see its merit. I do enjoy like the benefits of having snow, but as a deck builder of aesthetic and not just power,
Mm-hmm.
I am conflicted with my thoughts and how I view snow. Another mechanic
Yeah.
of Kaldheim is Foretell. It's a very interesting one. In a nutshell, it's basically pay 2 now to exile it and then pay a smaller amount later as a kind of surprise play in the future.
Yeah, it kind of lets you stow away your cards in your hand, so it can save you from stuff like wheels and discard effects. It's actually pretty neat.
I think it's interesting because it's basically wizards combining forecast and manifest.
Those weren't the two mechanics I would have thought of. I was morph and
Oh, morph, yeah, not manifest, morph, yeah.
it's a type of morph kind of for your hand, which I think is super cool, and it's very on theme in Kaldheim because the mythology is very centered around prophecy and destiny. So I really like the flavor there. But the other mechanic that is in the set is called Boast. And Boast is an activated ability on a creature that can only be triggered once per turn and only if that creature has attacked. So normally it's a cheaper activated ability for a pretty decent effect, but it is under the prerequisite that you have to have had attacked this turn. So it's a cool little mechanic that rewards you for aggressive strategies. Overall, I think it's interesting. There's a fair bit of synergies in certain cards across the set. One of the gods cares about creatures boasting and can let them do it twice. I think it'd be really powerful in limited, where the primary
Oh, for sure.
yeah,
It is going to be king in limited.
yeah, completely. But obviously, aggressive strategies don't scale as well for EDH. So I think that mechanic will struggle a bit to really leave a mark on the format.
Honestly, I don't think there was enough support for Boast. It feels like an afterthought, really. There weren't a ton of Boast cards,
I think
and not a
most
lot of
of
them with that are super impactful.
yeah,
And then you don't have, like you'd think that they'd provide a legendary. I mean, yeah, we do have one that can make you double up your boasts, but there could be more. I just felt it felt like an afterthought.
there are two other legendary creatures that do have boast on them, and but most of the boast abilities you'll see on primarily commons and uncommons, which is a big signal that it is indeed for limited, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I would be really excited to draft this and boast my shit.
Honestly, like if they just provided one legendary that said like you can boast any amount of times per turn, I would love that because I would actually build that, in probably like Mardu colors or something.
That'd be super broken.
I
But
don't think it is.
But yeah, so Kaldheim also has a very heavy tribal theme for the set. Each of the 10 guild pairs has 10 tribes that they care about, ranging from elves and Golgari to giants and Izzet and a whole heap of other ones. And it's really cool. We haven't gotten a really heavily emphasized tribal set in a really long time. And I think tribal decks are something that a lot of EDH players have a place in their heart for. And I'm personally really happy to see that it's made a return with some really powerful tribal cards. Personally, my favorite tribe that is getting some love is the tribe for Boros, which are dwarves. Dwarves have been a bit of an underdog in Magic's history, and I'm really excited to see them get more love in recent sets. So that's super cool.
I just like the shapeshifters.
The shapeshifters are super dope. They're mask for mask.
How dare you? Shapeshifters do not conform to any gender in presentation in any shape or form. They are
Yeah.
shape shifters.
Yeah, they have big NB energy. Yeah, so that is just a quick overall summary of what to expect from Kaldheim, and let's get into the cards, the juicy, juicy cards. Jazz, would you like to talk about a creature that you are super excited about in Kaldheim?
Oh my god. Yes, I am actually super excited to talk about this creature. Oh my god. This creature makes me like juicy and makes me
Wet.
ooey gooey. Just the that's disgusting. Let's not go that far. Anyways, the creature that I've chosen is Orvar the All Form. He or they're a shapeshifter, so
I
we don't
read
really know.
I read the Legend of Kaldheim article, and it does refer to Orvar as he, him.
Okay, so Orvar, the All Form, he is a 3/3 shapeshifter for 3 generic mana and a blue. They have changeling, which means that they are every creature type. Their abilities are whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, if it targets one or more other permanents you control, create a token that's a copy of one of those permanents. And then, when a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard this card, create a token that's a copy of target permanent. That's oh god, it's juicy, it's so good. It is just hitting every single one of my deck building buttons that just makes me want to deep dive into all the cards to try and find synergies. Most of the forms that I'm seeing other people build Orvar is a lot of cantrips and stuff like that, which is great. I'm very into that. I know that you tweeted about it, Ralph, about ways to target your lands so that you can basically copy your lands. And I mean,
Yes.
that's a great way to ramp in blue.
Yeah, there's a bunch of 1 or 2 mana spells that can either bounce your lands or any permanent, or change the color or text on a card. So if you target your lands with that, Orvar is going to copy that land. So it's a cool way to get more lands on the battlefield that hasn't really been done before, and I think that's really cool. Also, he's a really cool tentacly boy, and
Oh, the art is so cool. And I like this way of going wide in blue, especially if you have Orvar at the helm, then your strategy is basically a mixture of cantrips and then going wide. So it feels a little like Talrand in that essence, where you want spells so that you can create a wide board. But Orvar seems a little different in that it's
yeah,
less focused on.
Talrand would normally in EDH, if you want it really optimized, people normally fill that deck with counter spells, so they control the board state really, really heavily, and
Exactly.
the whole time accrue an army of drakes and just kill everybody with that way. But Orvar requires you to target your own permanents, so there's actually a really cool, different, I think, way that he'd be built.
I can see a lot of bounce and flicker effects just to targeting your own stuff so that you can bounce a permanent of yours so that you get a copy of it, and then you can also, if it has an ETB, you can double up that ETB by casting it again. The only thing about this card that seems a little, I don't know, just kind of extra, and or extra in the sense of it doesn't really need to be there, is its third ability, the discard thing of creating a token. I mean, I guess that's nice.
I
It's a
mean, I
nice little
think
extra thing, but I don't see it as something that you would be necessarily building around specifically.
no, it that third ability was definitely thrown in as a safety net for 60 card formats where targeted discard effects are more common, like stuff like Thoughtseize.
Okay, but why would you thought see something that creates a target of a permanent?
Actually, no, yeah, you got a point. Okay,
Like
yeah.
the only things that this would really do are like random discard or target like or mind rots or wheels, which is that really?
If an opponent wheels and you have to discard Orvar, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great. But is that actually going to happen in constructed 60 or
I don't know.
and I mean Orvar, you wouldn't have him in your hand too often unless like I said you're running bounce and flicker and you bounce him to your hand and then your opponent causes you to wheel with him in your hand knowing like it just doesn't make any sense to have this card or this not this card but this ability on him
Eh.
from my perspective.
I mean, blue and green's thing is like just chock the text box full of words.
Yeah, let's just overcomplicate it and just add words. Just make it a huge wall of text.
Yeah. My creature that I chose is Goldspan Dragon. Goldspan Dragon is a 4/4 creature dragon with flying and haste. It costs 3 generic and 2 red. And whenever Goldspan Dragon attacks or becomes the target of a spell, create a treasure token. And treasure tokens you control have tap, sacrifice this artifact, and add 2 mana of any one color. So this dragon is a doubling mana boy for your treasures.
Yes, trying to get those words out.
Yeah, I'm a wordsmith. I'm a poet. But Goldspan Dragon is super cool. It just doubles up your I talked about this card
You can
last
do
time.
it.
I talked about this
You
last
can do
time.
it.
Um,
I know.
so Goldspan Dragon is actually a really efficient body on a creature. The 4/4 flying and haste basically means that it attacks the turn it comes down, probably not being blocked, and it will give you a treasure for that. So that extra 2 mana that it gives you the turn it comes in actually basically makes it cost only 3 mana. So 3 mana for a flying hasting 4/4 is absolutely brilliant. That's an amazing rate on a body, like in any format, basically. And the fact that it doubles up your treasure mana, like in EDH, is absolute gravy on top. But also, another cool fact about this guy is that when it gets targeted by any spell, so that even counts spells that you can cast. So Goldspan Dragon will go absolutely insane with decks like Zada, Hedron, Grinder, or Feather the Redeemed, where they care about spells targeting your own creatures and doing copies of that spell or getting that spell back at the end of turn. So if you're able to cantrip and target Goldspan Dragon, you will be able to draw loads of cards and you'll be able to get loads of mana. And this is just a completely bonkers and amazing ramp card in red, and we love to see it.
Especially with Feather, you are essentially you have access to this dragon, and then you also have access to our favorite white enchantment, Smothering Tithe. So you are going to be making a lot of mana.
Oh, yeah, this would be so good with Smothering Tithe. I mean, not that card is hard to break.
Right. I mean, Smothering Tide is just great in all aspects. But even without Smothering Tide, if you want to go like mono red and you go like Brass's Bounty, holy crap.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then if you're not going, with Feather or Zada, you could also, if you want to go Rakdos, you have Revel in Riches. Just any synergy with other treasures, you're doubling up your mana production, which is fantastic.
Yeah, completely. And I love the flavor of treasure-obsessed dragons. We've seen a lot of that recently. It feels very Dungeons and Dragons. It's very classically fantasy for me. And the flavor.
On a side note, just like as a slight tangent to this, I love that we both chose the mythic creature of the set.
Well, we're only really able to pick one creature out of this category, so, go big or go home. There are loads of other creatures that I am super excited about, but Goldspan Dragon is definitely at the top of my list.
Oh, yeah.
This card is already pre-ordering for like $15, by the way.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, it is making waves.
Guess we're proxying this shit.
Ooh. Yeah, completely.
I would want like a baby dragon from like Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's baby dragon, Yug. I tap my lands.
So next up, oh my god, stop.
I'm Magus of the Joey Wheeler.
Oh god.
Yug.
Can we end this now? Can we stop recording? I hate this.
It can't get any better than that, obviously. So yeah.
Oh Jesus. Okay, let's move on
Yeah.
to our favorite artifact.
You
Oh,
go.
I guess it's my turn. So I guess I'll
Yeah.
introduce my
Yeah.
own self to this thing. My favorite artifact is going to be, drum roll please, as I'm looking this card up. Just kidding, I have it here ready. It's the Omen Keel.
Oh,
Ba ba
cool.
ba ba ba
Cool.
ba.
Okay, so
Um, I'm not gonna focus on its other flip side, which is Cosima, God of the Voyage, because this is meant to be about the artifact, because that's why it's been chosen. I chose the Omen Keel as my favorite artifact because it is a 3/3 vehicle with crew 1 for 1 generic and 1 blue, and it has whenever a vehicle you control deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles that many cards from the top of their library. You may play lands from among those cards for as long as they remain exiled. And okay, I know that this is basically the second blue card that I've chosen in this long list. Trust me, there are other colors, but I am a blue fanboy, okay? I mean, by nature, I am an Izzet player, but I love me some mono blue as well. And I love when mono blue takes an idea and goes a separate route with it, because the Omen Keel, by its nature, seems very like, okay, it's going to care about artifacts and it's going to care about milling people, which is two things that blue already does. But in this fashion and in this way, when you're exiling lands from other players and then able to cast those lands, basically reliably having ramp, I feel like it is a more interesting form of one, theft, which is another blue mechanic, and two, milling people. So it wants you to go aggressive rather than other forms of blue mill, which is like, let's build up a wall and not attack with anything. This feels very proactive. It's a proactive blue rather than a reactive blue.
yeah, no, the flavor is absolutely on point here. Like it's a boat, it's a big long dragon boat, and it sails through the space between the realms, and you find new lands. Like it's a voyage. It's absolutely perfect.
Okay, wait. Now that I'm like thinking about it more though, it's kind of like colonialism because it's taking people's lands.
Well, I mean, like the Vikings were raiders.
I know, it's just kind of it's funny. I
Yeah,
didn't think of it that way. I didn't think of the flavor of it until you brought it up, which is
today's
surprising that I
today's
didn't think of that
theme
flavor.
is colonialism.
Oh my god. We're
Okay.
just gonna show up to your shores and take your land from you.
That does sound like a very blue thing
Oh,
to do.
oh no.
Yeah, both blue and white have big colonizer energy.
Why isn't that part of White's color identity, stealing people's lands? That feels very white.
Yes, whites do steal land. That is a fact. Oh, we live in a society. But is that are you done talking about the Omen Keel, my love?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I think it's really neat. It's a boat
I
that's a
mean, it's
god.
isn't it,
We didn't even touch on Cosima, but it's like she also has some cool abilities. But as a standalone, I could totally see making. I mean, apparently I'm gonna be making Orvar, and then I'm also gonna be making the Omen Keel. So I'm just gonna make every mono blue deck. Apparently.
I mean, we both have our colors, and it will become very apparent which one is my favorite as we go through my list. But the artifact that I chose is, in fact, a colorless artifact, and it is called Cosmos Elixir. It is an
I had a
artifact.
feeling you were gonna choose this.
It is an artifact for 4 mana, and at the beginning of your end step, draw a card if your life total is greater than your starting life total. Otherwise, you gain 2 life. So this is just like strictly a better Well of Lost Dreams. I mean, like not exactly,
Yeah,
but it's a 4 mana artifact, and you'll only get to draw a card at the end of your end step. But this is the lowest bar of life gain drawing payoffs that has ever been printed. Like if you have 41 life, you get to draw a card at the beginning of your end step, and if your life is higher than that, like that's absolutely brilliant. So this is a perfect card draw engine for white, because incidental life gain is very common in many white cards. There's a lot of cards with lifelink. There's a lot of life gain themed decks in white and other colors that have white. So I think that this is a great addition to the suite of life draw payoffs like Dawn of Hope and Well of Lost Dreams. This is definitely the most efficient and easiest to activate, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. But
I love that you say that it like is sort of a cheaper. Did you say wait? What were your words when you brought up Well of Lost Dreams?
I said it was a strictly better. I think I said it was like just a better version of it, but I wouldn't. But I think I kind of backtrack on that because Well of Lost Dreams can actually is just triggered by any incident of life gain. So it's
Yeah,
not,
I think
yeah.
together with Cosmos Elixir and Well of Lost Dreams, that's incredible
Yeah, those are,
synergy.
yeah. So yeah, the suite of life gain card draw payoffs is getting slowly bigger, which I'm very happy about because white is my color, but it's really great. Yeah, and that's on period.
What's the next thing on the list now? We did artifact, we did creature,
I would like to talk about lands next.
lands. Okay,
Did
give me
you
1 second
did you
while I
pick a
bring up
land?
my land. I did choose a land because this land is a freaking amazing land. You're gonna love this land. This land is my land. This
This
land is
land
your.
is
No,
my
it's not your land.
land. This land is your land. So
Oh no. So I chose Port of Carfel. It is a well, it's a land. It's an uncommon, and Port of Carfel enters the battlefield tapped. If you tap it, you can add blue to your mana pool, and it has an activated ability of 3 generic mana, blue, black, black. Tap, sacrifice Port of Carfel, mill 4 cards, then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So for a total of 6 mana, you can mill 4 and bring and recur something back to your from your grave to the battlefield. I think it's a great land. I know specifically it's only going to be in like dimmer decks or soul tide decks or just any. You have to have blue and black in your color identity, but it is a beast of a card, especially. Okay, so I know I said that I'm an Izzet player, but like deep down, I'm a Sultai player because I'm just that degenerate. So, Port of Carfel in like Muldrotha, holy shit, it just gets me going. Like, oh, oh, it's super sweet. What are
yeah,
your thoughts on Port of Carfel?
I think it's a really great effect to have in a land. It's probably the most directly reanimating effect we've had in a land before. But the whole cycle of these uncommon lands with really great activated abilities, like almost all of them are incredibly powerful. And I think these are great additions to utility lands across all of Commander. Port
Like
of
for real? Okay, just I didn't even think about this because as you can tell, audience, I just kind of pick a card and then talk about it. But then now that like the more that I think about Port of Carfel, I'm even more entranced by it because like I just brought up with Muldrotha, you could get it back. You could bring back Port of Carfel with Muldrotha and just repeat this process. It's so beautiful, and you're milling yourself 4 cards, so you're just like building up your. Oh my god. I'm shook at how good this card is now. Like
oh,
I'm like just
you're
realizing
very
it even
loud.
even more so now. Sorry. I'm really excited.
I know you are. But it's very mana intensive for Muldrotha. Like there are cheaper ways to reanimate.
Okay, but this is reanimation with mill.
Yeah, I mean that's not unheard of. I mean like it's a great redundancy and it's great that it's on a land. Like the opportunity cost is incredibly low. So like absolutely put it in Muldrotha, but like I personally wouldn't be, I don't think it's an engine, so to speak.
Oh no, I don't think that like
Cuz
it'd
like
be
it's like
too
7
intensive to
it
make it an
also
engine because like you'd need like an amulet of vigor so that you can actually use it constantly. I mean, you can combo it, but is it worth the combo? Probably not. But I'm just saying, like, there's the ability to recur it with Muldrotha, and even not in a Muldrotha deck, in a simple dimmer deck, milling yourself and getting yourself resources. It's great.
yeah, no, it's actually really cool. And
Let me
the
guess, is yours Axguard Armory?
My land is Axguard Armory. It
I
and
knew it. I fucking
Axguard
knew it.
Armory enters the battlefield tapped. You can tap it for a 1 white, and for 1, 2 red, and a white, you can sacrifice Axguard Armory and search your library for an aura card and or an equipment card. Reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. So this is a fucking tutor on a land, like in Boros.
It's great.
That's fucking amazing. That's incredible. Like there are rares that don't can't even do that. Like Steel Shaper's Gift is like an expensive and efficient staple in EDH in white. And that card, and I would say Axguard Armory is just as good at it. It's in 2 colors obviously, so that limits it, but in Boros decks that care about equipment or auras, which has become very
Which is like
popular.
all of them.
Yeah, which is a very popular archetype. This is an absolute staple. I love it.
Well, speaking of categories, what's our next category? Is
Instance.
instance. Ooh, we love an instant. Can you guess what I'm gonna choose for my instant?
Is it that reflection one?
No, it's not,
Oh,
actually.
okay, then it's Tybalt's Trickery, right?
No, it's not,
What?
actually.
What?
I've changed my yeah, I've changed
Oh my god.
my choice. Well, my favorite instant from Kaldheim is Poison the Cup. Mm.
Ooh.
Poison
Does
the
it?
Cup
Wait,
is
wait, wait.
a.
Is it poisoned with iocane powder? Do you...
Is this a reference to something that I'm not getting right
the,
now?
the Princess Bride?
Oh,
Oh my god.
I mean, this is awkward now.
Just go. Just go. Ooh.
Okay, Poison the Cup is. Poison the Cup.
You okay there?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm like. I'm now thinking about like peppermint and Bob and like it's fashion, but I'm like it's poison. It's
It's
poison.
poison. But is it poison?
But is it poison? Okay. Whew.
Oh, that's actually really funny.
Oh my god. Okay. Poison the Cup is an instant in black for 1 generic and 2 black, and it just simply reads destroy target creature. If the spell was foretold, scry 2. It has a foretell cost of 1 generic and 1 black. So it's basically murder, but better, because you can scry off of it.
Murder,
So
but
right off the
better.
bat, it's murder. Yeah. Right off the bat, it's basically murder. But if you want to put a little bit more mana into it, because foretelling is basically going to make it cost 4 in the entire sense of the game, if you're not running any cost reduction on that. But with foretell, you get to scry 2, which makes it even better, in my opinion. Um, Also, I just like the flavor of it, of
Mm-hmm.
poisoning someone's cup and like killing them.
Oh yeah. As somebody
Um,
who's playing a poisoning rogue assassin in D&D currently, this appeals very much to me.
and like the flavor text of this, dark schemes cut down what armies cannot. That's so. Oh, we love the flavor of that, and I'm
Mm.
I'm really into the art of this. I can also see it as being like reprinted in other sets.
Conspiracy 3.
Yeah, like I can see this happening, this being a staple in the greater sense of Magic, where it's not just like
Yeah,
a
is
one-time
it
thing.
common or uncommon?
It isn't uncommon, so that's even better.
Yeah, that can definitely see some reprints going forward. But also the fact,
Hmm.
well, I mean, like maybe not considering how set specific foretell is.
Right, I guess, but then like in Commander Legends sort of sets or modern sort of sets or just things that are just reprinting cards, I feel like Poison the Cup is an eligible candidate for that.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, babe, what did you choose for your instance?
So my instant, I cheated a little bit, and I chose a card that is from the commander decks that are accompanying the set of Kaldheim.
That totally counts. I don't think that's cheating at all.
Oh, thank you. I still think God thinks it's cheating, but I'm at peace with it. So,
Which
the
god, though?
wouldn't you
Because
like
if
to
it's
know?
Valky, it's not cheating.
Wouldn't you like to know? Ooh, I'll never tell. So the card that I chose is Cosmic Intervention. It is an instant and it costs 3 and a white. And if a permanent you control be put into a graveyard from the battlefield this turn, exile it instead. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. And it has foretell for 1 and a white.
Okay, no joke. I didn't know that this card existed, and I'm shook.
Isn't it so good? It's
I
a
guess I didn't see the spoiler.
yeah,
So,
it's a Faith's Reward.
what the fuck?
Like it's absolutely it's so good. Like
Ma'am.
ma'am, like oh, it's so good. But one of the coolest things about it is that even permanents that die and get reanimated on the same turn, if they die again, they still get to come back at the end of the turn.
I know. Oh
Like
my god.
yeah,
This is rude.
it's so good. It giving me Faith's Reward. It's giving me Brought Back. It's giving me a little bit of Gerard Capuchin's new card. This is a really great aspect
Is
of
this gonna be like.
it's a
Is this on the levels of white cards that like you have to include, like Smothering Tide and Teferi's Protection.
I wouldn't say it's Teferi protection good, but I would say any deck that cares enough about its board state and can fit and wants that kind of insurance, Cosmic Intervention is an absolute like slam dunk for that kind of effect. I don't think it goes in every deck, obviously, but I love this card design. And
It's so good. It's
yeah,
so juicy.
yeah, yeah. Protecting your board state is super important, especially in white where you invest a lot in your permanence. So being able to protect it in a bunch of different ways, we're seeing a lot of different cards that do that, and I think this is a great part of white's color pie that they're exploring. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. You want to lead me into the next one?
Yes, let's do sorcery.
Sorcery category is sorcery.
I'm a
So
sorceress.
the sorcery I chose is going to be Reckless Crew.
Ooh, I like this. I
Yes,
like this
yes, yes,
card.
yes. I really like this card. Reckless Crew is 3 generic and 1 red for, and it reads, create X 2/1 red dwarf berserker creature tokens, where X is the number of vehicles you control plus the number of equipment you control. For each of those tokens, you may attach an equipment you control to it. Can you guess? You probably can guess, but the first card that I would put this deck, or the
Togo.
Tago, 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 Tago. I love tacos, but I also love Tago.
Togo Bell.
Tago Bell. So with Reckless Crew, Tago becomes it's just I'm having issues talking just because it's so fucking good. Like
But
granted
it
you have to do a lot of you have to do a lot of setup with Tago to get all those rocks out. But
mm-hmm.
once you have enough, you toss in your or you play your Reckless Crew, you have just as many dwarves as you have rocks, and you all those rocks are now attached to your crew.
So you summon a crowd of 2/1 dwarf barbarians that literally just
Berserkers.
that throw rocks at.
Dwarf berserkers, get it right.
Okay, yeah, but I'm thinking about it in like D&D terms, like the visual.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I
just a
guess like
bunch.
from the ether you just summon all these dwarves and now they're like holding rocks.
Yeah, these like warriors, these fierce, proud, and warriors filled with rage, just like apparate out of nowhere. And then there's this goblin standing there, like with a pile of rocks in his arms, like, and starts handing them out like they're fucking free iPods.
I got a rack. It's a rack.
Rock! It's a rock
I love
pack.
this idea. I mean, red loves going wide as it is, and with
Mm-hmm.
Tago or any just sort of red or Boros sort of situation where you have a lot of equipment, this is great. This is amazing. Granted, in most equipment decks, you're only probably going to be averaging maybe like I don't know, rough average of maybe you have 5 artifacts on the field, unless you have a really amazing start and you have more than that. But I'd say on like the absolute average, you're getting 5. And 5/2/1 red dwarfs, and you are able to suit up all those dwarves with all your equipment. Not a bad trade off.
Not
I,
bad at
I
all.
feel.
I also think it works really well with cards that create equipment tokens. I'm thinking specifically of Bloodforged Battle Axe, which makes copies
Oh
of itself. So
yes.
that's super fun. Similarly with Togo, I think there's a really cool, very small niche there where it can actually be really powerful. But overall, I think it's just a really fun, like funny card.
Okay. What is your favorite sorcery?
So my sorcery that I am absolutely in love with from Kaldheim is Search for Glory. So Search for Glory is a snow sorcery or snorcery.
Snorcery.
Snorcery. It costs 2 and a white, and you can search your library for a snow permanent card, a legendary card, or a saga card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. And in addition, you gain 1 life for each snow mana spent to cast the spell. So this is just a super duper cool tutor in white that you don't even need to run Snowlands for, even though you're probably going to run Snowlands anyway. When I searched up in Scryfall the number of cards that this card can tutor up, I got something north of 1,600 cards. There's a shitload of stuff that you can tutor up with this. Like,
Wow.
wow. But also, it can tutor up Snowlands for you, which is super cool. So it can help you fix your mana, or it can help you find a combo piece, or it can just help you find a really great piece of tech in your deck, while also maybe incidentally gaining you some life, which might even synergize with Cosmos Elixir. Wow, check that out. And also, the card features our lovely brand new they them from this set, Nico Aris, who I am also super excited to talk about. But we will get to that in due time.
I'm just like thinking of all the possibilities with this card, like being able to search up legendaries.
Any
Because
legendary
I mean, ever
card,
since Dominaria,
legendary
right? Like ever
sorceries.
since Dominaria, we have legendary sorceries. Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah, if you're running
this
this
is
in a
juicy.
if you're running this deck in like a legendary matters deck, like Kethis the Hidden Hand, you could search up, say, an Urza's Ruinous Blast or something similar, or something that cares about legendary creatures. It's really great.
Or Super Friends deck. This is great for that too.
Yeah, you can also tutor up a Planeswalker. Not that Super Friends needs the help.
I think they do.
No, they don't. Super Friends decks don't deserve rights.
Ma'am, you need to calm down. This is a Wendy's.
Is this a Super Friendies?
I
That was bad.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, so, Jazz, is there an enchantment you would like to talk about from Kaldheim?
Yes, I love enchantments. They're so
Same,
enchanting.
same. Oh my god.
And my favorite enchantment from this set is oh, I just realized I've chosen another blue card, but it's Reflections of Litjara.
Ooh.
Bum, bum, bum. Reflections of Litjara is 4 generic mana and a blue, and it reads, as Reflections of Litjara enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, copy that spell. And then in parentheses, a copy of a permanent spell becomes a token. I like this card a lot because
It's combo-tastic.
I like it's combo-tastic. Okay, I can't the major deck that I can think would love this card that I have built personally is Inala, Wizard Tribal.
Wizards.
So with doubling up, I mean Inala as it is, she already doubles up your wizards just because of her eminence ability. But with Reflections of Lichara, you get even more value from your wizards. And I know this is like a total sidebar, but my Inala is not like a wizard tribal. It's actually like a artifact deck, and I'm using like the trophy mage and trinket mage, which all count as wizards. So doubling up their ETBs is amazing. So what are your thoughts on Reflections of Lichara? What do you
Um,
think of her?
Honestly, it seems like too much of a beast for me to tackle. Um, I
What
don't
do you mean?
I wouldn't know what to do with it. Like I get that it just gives you straight up good tribal value, but the tribes that I am super like into don't really intersect with blue very often, so I don't see myself playing this card a whole lot.
Don't you have an is it wizard tribal? Didn't you build that one chick?
I did, yeah. I played it. I had an Adley Cinderwind deck for a while. I've since taken her apart, but yeah. I mean, like I wanted it to be an aggro deck, but Wizards want to like do tricksy combo ETB stuff, so yeah, it's not really my jam.
Okay, well, in Mono Blue, there are other tribes other than wizards. You have merfolk, you have um, flyers,
Okay, wait.
you
The
have.
only tribe that I would see myself playing in blue would be sea creatures, which isn't even an actual tribe. It's an archetype. So like krakens, octopuses, the serpents,
Serpents, leviathans.
serpents and leviathans. Yeah, like those four. So like yeah, I would run it in that if I
Ooh,
did.
or pirates. Ooh, or pirates. Pirates, hello.
It would be good in pirates. I would give it that.
Well, anyways, Ralph, you paying attention to me?
Yes,
You ready
daddy.
for this? Anyways, what is your favorite enchantment?
Oh, my favorite enchantment. I get to go first this time. Yay. Oh, wait. No, I
No,
don't.
this is you going second.
This is me going second. So the enchantment that I chose is a saga, and it was one of the very first cards previewed for Kaldheim spoiler season, and that is Showdown of the Scalds. It is a Boros saga. It costs two, a red and a white, and its first chapter reads exile the top four cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. So immediately it draws you 4 cards, a la Impulsive Draw, which is very common in red. And then its second and third chapters are whenever you cast a spell this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So you play this for its first chapter. You get to get access to 4 more cards that you still have access to until the end of your next turn, which is a very good version of Impulsive Draw. The only one turn style of Impulsive Draw is weaker, and having that extra amount of time to cast those spells is very valuable. And it's card draw in Boros, which is really great. The commander that I think of when I see this enchantment is Borka, Spectral Sergeant from Commander Legends. She cares about cards being exiled, and which determine her power. And she also exiles the top card of your library at the start of your upkeep. So I think this is another direction that's being pushed for specifically Boros. So I'm really happy to see it. And also the second and third chapters just reward you for maybe storming off or something like that, which is also really cool.
Is Borka female?
I believe so.
I mean, they're a ghost, so I guess I can't really tell. According to this article, Borka did sign an Orzhov life insurance contract that brought him back as a ghost to seek justice for his death, much to the chagrin of his partner Agris.
Argus. Oh, it is Agris. Jesus. Okay, so I can't read nor determine the gender of Spectral Sergeants. I apologize to Borka. You are a very handsome ghost man. Power to you. I feel like this episode is much more chaotic than our last one.
Want to lead me into this next one?
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Our final...
Have fun editing this.
Our final... pardon me. Our final category for the evening of card types, we're still not quite done, is Planeswalkers. Jazz, do you want to talk to me about your favorite Planeswalker?
Yes. Actually, I'll let you. You want to take a stab at what I chose?
Well, the last time you chose Tyverkill, so I'm gonna say that you chose Kaya.
I did not choose Kaya, unfortunately. I love Kaya's card. I love Kaya a lot.
We stand Kaya in this house.
Okay, as far as the games go, as far as Magic the Gathering goes, Kaya has gotten a lot of love in recent sets. But you know who hasn't gotten a lot of love and has typically been severely underpowered and has been severely underwhelming?
Is that our good old Tibby?
It's our good old Tibby. It's Tybalt, Cosmic Imposter. He's on this plane causing up a stir of tricks and lies, disguising himself as the God of Lies. But he's Tybalt, Cosmic Imposter, for 5 generic, a black, and a red. So Tybalt has gone Rakdos on us. He's not just mono red, but he's gone Rakdos, which is very, very nice to see. Tybalt, Cosmic Imposter, enters. As he enters the battlefield, you get an emblem with you may play cards exiled with Tybalt, Cosmic Imposter, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. Tybalt also enters the battlefield with 5 loyalty counters. So, as with most Planeswalkers, he has 3 abilities. His first ability is a +2 loyalty counters. Exile the top card of each player's library. So, with his static ability, he is basically you basically get 4 cards every turn, not just your own, but all of your opponents too. And you can play them. So, meaning you can play the lands. It's not just casting. And his second ability is -3, exile target artifact or creature. This is just great removal in itself, but if you also want to steal an artifact or a creature, you take it. You want to get rid of their Elspeth, or not Elspeth, their Elish Norn, then you can take her.
I love this.
It's great.
I love this.
It's amazing.
I love the 7 rings era that Tybalt is going through. He sees it, he likes it, he wants it, he gets it. Yeah.
Exactly. And for his quote-unquote ult, it's a -8, which, may not happen too often. granted, it could actually because he comes in with 5 loyalty counters, and he has a +2. But his -8 is exile all cards from all graveyards, add red, red, red. Now, my Rakdos deck that I personally have is a Chainer deck. I would not put this card in there because
You
I
don't
don't
want to be
want my own
exiling your
graveyard to be
graveyard.
exiled. Yeah, I don't want my graveyard gone, but I can see this in the right deck or as its own built around it. Exiling other people's graveyards is amazing because more often than not, people are using their graveyards as a resource. If they're not recurring, they're doing a spellslinger deck. So you're gonna get value from its ult. I wouldn't bank on it. I wouldn't you know, purpose built just to, take people's
I mean,
graveyards.
like
But
this is one of the few cases where this planeswalker can be your commander because his other side is a legendary creature. So I think there
mhm,
is very much room for a deck to be built around this. You just need to be able to hit that 7 mana cost for Tybalt because that's a fairly steep cost in
that is true.
a color pairing that does not have a lot of ramp. Like
Well,
you're gonna need the Cabal Coffers and Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth combo in there.
not necessarily, because if you think about it, these colors, granted, every color has access to artifacts, but what do these colors have that the other colors don't really have?
Rituals?
Rituals.
Oh.
So you could ritual into Tybalt relatively quickly,
I mean, yeah,
possibly.
if you have a mana geyser
It's not impossible.
Into Tybalt, that would be pretty cool.
hmm And I know, so yeah, you could build around his ult because then you could exile everyone's graveyards and then continue to start exiling or casting things from their graveyards. So yeah, and the great thing is, if they get rid of Tybalt and you are able to recast him, the stuff that Tybalt has exiled is still fair game.
Yes, that is true. And it's also cool to note that this is the first instance of a planeswalker entering the battlefield and creating an emblem. Is also kind of scary. Like, I mean, like it's overcosted and it's in 2 colors, but I can definitely see this becoming a trend going forward with planeswalker static abilities.
I think what we're going to possibly see in the near future is ways to actually get rid of emblems. If emblems become more part of the game and are more, if
Pushed.
emblems just show up more often than not and aren't something that you have to work hard towards or build your way up to, then I believe, or at least I want to believe, because I'd love to get rid of Tameo emblems, that there might be a way to rid ourselves of some pesky emblems that people can get.
I don't want to see emblem interaction at all. I disagree. I think
Okay, well, you can be wrong. That's fine.
I yes, I'm entitled to my wrong opinion, but I just don't think I think they should be used sparingly and they should be impactful, and that's it. Like frankly, just like I'd be happier if there were less planeswalkers overall, and I'd be even happier if there were less planeswalkers that made emblems.
Well,
Speaking of planeswalkers,
regardless of what is happening, yeah, tell me about your next
this well,
planeswalker.
this is definitely a planeswalker that I want to see more of, and this is Nico Eris, our very first non-binary protagonist in a Magic story. So when they enter the battlefield, you create X shard tokens. Shard tokens are enchantment tokens that cost 4/2. You can sacrifice this enchantment, scry 1, then draw a card. Nico themselves costs a white, a blue, and a blue with an X, and obviously the X will determine the amount of shard tokens that Nico enters the battlefield with. Their +1 ability is up to one target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. Whenever that creature deals combat damage to... hold up. It doesn't say combat damage. Whenever this creature deals damage this turn, that's interesting, return it to its owner's hand. And its -1 is Nico Eris deals 2 damage to target tapped creature for each card you've drawn this turn. And they have a final -1 ability, so no ultimate, which just allows you to create another shard token. And Nico Eris enters the battlefield with 3 loyalty. So, in terms of competitive and optimal objective card assessment, I wouldn't consider Nico Eris an incredibly powerful card. However, I love the flavor and I love the character, and I just am really happy to feel represented and Their story is really impactful to me, and the flavor has really been locked in with their abilities. And yeah, it just makes me really happy. And I hope we get to see more of them.
I really, really enjoy Nico Eris's design. I love that we have a NB character as part of our lore and to the forefront. I know that it's possibly not the first time that we've had a character, but this
This
is
is the first time we've had a like uh, a a human presenting like non-binary protagonist, as it were.
right.
Like we've
Because
had,
Etherborn are non-binary, right?
yeah, all Etherborn, which is a race of humanoids on Kaladesh, are all non-binary. However, it's very hard to feel represented by creatures that are not like human. While having that kind of character is fun and interesting, I also think it's important that we have relatable and visible characters that we can also identify with. So that's why I'm really happy that Nico is a protagonist in Kaldheim.
And then from a game perspective, their abilities are super, super cool. I like the shards. I like that what they can bring to the game,
Yeah,
especially with like mechanics like Constellation.
yeah, absolutely. Like if you're able to pump a load of mana into Nico as you cast them, you will get a lot of enchantments entering the battlefield all at once. So if you've got cards like Archon of Sun's Grace or Sigil of the Empty Throne, you'll get loads of tokens. You'll get loads of payoffs for enchantments, which I think is really cool. The other interesting thing that like I didn't notice the first time I read their card was that the creature doesn't have to deal combat damage this turn. It just has to deal damage, which I find very interesting and actually on flavor with Nico's design, because went back on their home in Theros were a Javelineer, so that what might not be explicitly combat damage, so it could be throwing something. So I think that's really interesting. Maybe it has
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah.
yeah, and also bouncing stuff is very Azorius in flavor, and also unblockable stuff is really fun. There's a lot packed into that one ability, which I think is interesting, and it has some kind of removal on it, which interacts with the shards because it lets you draw cards. So, yeah, I think it's really exciting, and I hope we get to see more of them in the future.
Oh yeah. Number like super, super good. Oh,
We stan. That is one card of each type that we've chosen from Kaldheim that we think is exciting.
okay. Sure. Let's go. Let's lightning round. So, okay. We talked about our favorite cards of each card type. So, but given the fact that this is call time and this is a world and a lore filled with gods, we can't just skip over them. I know that we covered some of them in our discussion, just like the Omen Keel and Cosima, and Tybalt being Valky, but I think that it'd be a good idea to do a quick little bit of a lightning round with our three favorite gods that we're excited to see. Start us off, Ralph.
So yeah, the first god on my list is Halvar, God of Battle. Uh, he is a legendary creature god with 4/4, and he costs 4 to play, 2 a white and a white, so he's mono white. Creatures you control that are enchanted or equipped have double strike, so that's pretty cool. And at the beginning of each combat, you may attach target aura or equipment attached to a creature you control to target creature you control. So he pumps up your enchanted and equipped creatures with double strike, which is a very powerful keyword, but also gives you a bit of utility in shifting equipments or auras around. It could help you move maybe an indestructibility onto something that needs protecting, or help you cheat equipment costs, which is really cool. So I really think Halvar is neat, and he flips over into a legendary artifact equipment that is called Sword of the Realms. It costs 1 and a white. An equipped creature has +2/+0 and vigilance. And whenever a equipped creature dies, return it to its owner's hand. And you can equip it to a creature for 1 and a white. So this is a really cool pseudo card advantage engine or protection for your commander. If Halvar is in your 99, the Sword of the Realms can protect your commander by allowing it to return to your hand. And it's a fairly cheaply costed equipment, which is always really nice because equipment decks do struggle with the mana costs of everything. But yeah, I really like these two cards paired together. I think it's really cool that you can just have a sword in your command zone, which I think a lot of people are excited about. But yeah, Halvar is the first one on my list. Jazz, do you want to talk about one?
Yeah, so my first card is Toralf, God of Fury.
Oh shit! I chose him too.
Do you? Oh, nice. Okay, so this knocks out one for you as well. Toralf, God of Fury is
It
two and
it's my name. To
I mean sort
Ralph.
of
To
to
Ralph.
Ralph
It's me. I'm Ralph.
to to Ralph or Toralf, God of Fury is two generic mana and two red for a 5/4 god. He has trample, and whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage, Toralf deals damage equal to the excess to any target other than that permanent. That's just really good. It's super freaking amazing. And I mean, everyone has thought about it. Everyone can knows what it's going to go with, but it's Blasphemous Act. Just with the Blasphemous Act and you board wipe everything, that's I mean, most creatures don't have 13 toughness. So if a 1/1 is getting hit by a Blasphemous Act, that's 12 damage to another target, i.e., your opponent's. So you can theoretically, you could effectively kill an entire board with just one Blasphemous Act, given there are enough targets on the board for a Blasphemous Act to hit.
And
Not only
that's
Blasphemous.
and that's just
Go.
with sorry, yeah. And that's just with Toralf on the battlefield. If you have any kind of damage doublers that we've seen, like Torbrand, Thane of Redfell, or Fiery Emancipation, like
Mm-hmm.
you can go absolutely bonkers with Toralf, which I think is really
Yeah.
cool.
It. I am excited about Toralf God of Fury because it doesn't seem like it has a linear sort of gameplay. It feels like you can go different routes with it. You can go non-creature spell heavy, you could go tokens heavy, or you could do a hybrid of the two. It
Why
seems
why would you go token heavy?
so that you could have a lot of targets and then with one final payout of a Blasphemous Act.
Oh yeah, that does make sense. Um, Something else besides Blasphemous Act is Starve Extinction. 20,
Mm-hmm.
20 damage to every creature. Like
And you
it,
blow up a land.
yeah, it might be a little bit over the top, but that's just how festive I am. I think, yeah, big damaging board wipes like that are really really where you want what you want to include in a Toralf deck.
Yeah, and then on the flip side, it's Toralf's Hammer for one and a red. It's an equipment, so like our previous Sword Boy, he is a Hammer Boy. Equipped creature has one and a red. Tap, unattach Toralf's Hammer. It deals 3 damage to any target. Return Toralf's Hammer to its owner's hand. And equipped creature gets +3/+0 as long as it's legendary. And it has an equip cost of 1 and a red. So, I mean,
I don't think this
it's
side
not
is that good.
it's not amazing. I wouldn't build around it,
Yeah,
but
no.
it's interesting. It's cute.
You want
It's like a little Thor's hammer that you can throw and get back.
It reminds me a lot of that one card that like it's an equipment. It's a boomerang, I think, or some, I think it's a tomahawk is what it is. But it is literally one of the worst cards in Magic's existence.
It's not great,
No, but yeah,
but it's other. I mean, it's Toralf. He can't be perfect on both sides.
yeah, exactly. Like it definitely like if the hammer was super broken, I think it might have pushed it over the top. So I'm happy to have one really good side and one kind of mediocre side.
So since we've covered two of your gods, what is your third god then?
So my third god is Redane, God of the Worthy. She's a legendary creature god, 2 power and 3 toughness. She's flying and vigilance, and she costs 2 and a white. Snowlands your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped, and non-creature spells your opponents cast with converted mana cost 4 or greater cost 2 more to cast. So this is the Snowland hate bear that I was speaking about earlier in this episode. In terms of hate bears, I don't think this is enough. The fact that it's one card, it's in white, and it doesn't destroy snowlands is kind of a big issue for me. I do really like the card. I like the third ability a lot, the taxing of non-creature spells. I really like the idea of this, but I think there could have been room for more snow hate cards in this set, and this alone is not going to stop the ubiquitousness of Snowlands
Oh yeah,
in all the
I mean,
formats.
no, right. Not looking in a broader spectrum of Magic. Like, I don't think this is going to become a staple in modern or standard, just so you can shut down snow because that means investing into white.
Yeah.
when you don't necessarily need to.
Yeah, like maybe you would splash it, but like honestly, with the body that this has, considering how powerful some of the other 3 drops are that we've seen in Kaldheim, I don't think Redane kind of measures up. But her flip side is actually pretty interesting, and that's Valkmira Protector's Shield. It is a legendary artifact. It costs 3 and a white, and if a source an opponent controls would deal damage to you, or a permanent you control, prevent 1 of that damage. And whenever you or another permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter that spell or ability unless its controller pays 1. So this is a more of a just a straight up kind of taxing and protection type of artifact. I like that preventing 1 damage might not seem like a lot, but it can go a long way, especially if you're facing certain strategies like tokens or group slug, and just taxing spells that target you for 1 is small but enough to dissuade your opponents from targeting you a whole lot. So I really like that. Overall, I think Redane is a solid white commander. I wish that the Snow Hate was a little more aggressive just overall, but I think I would still play her as a commander in maybe like a mono white control kind of strategy, or Hate Bears. She definitely fits in with Gaddock Teague in Celestia Hate Bears, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think like just in terms of flavor, I think she would also fit well in with an Angel deck, because she's got a lovely pair of wings on her. So
However, she does not count as an angel.
Yeah, she doesn't have the
if you're trying to
angel
go for that tribal.
Yeah, she doesn't have the angel type, which I think is a bit of a bummer. But yeah, overall, I think she's pretty cool. Between the two, I think between the 2 white commanders, I think Halvar has a bit more potential for staying power and just overall power. I like he is the mythic god, and this is the rare god, so I guess that kind of makes sense. But I like both of them a lot, and I appreciate what the R&D have given white with these creatures.
In your opinion, with Redane, and the shield, which do you feel you'd play more?
I think I play Redane because I don't know. I think the Snowlands Enter the Battlefield tapped is it's fine, especially if your play group, I think, is leaning really heavily into snow basics. Definitely throw Redane into your deck. And also I think taxing those really splashy spells makes it pretty good in the late game to kind of slow down those opponents that are trying to pop off, especially those tricksy blue and green players that love high CMC stuff. So yeah, I think I would play the creature side of it first at the very least.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, Jazz. You have 2 more gods to talk about, don't you?
Yes, I've got 2. I'm looking at the sorry. I was looking at all the cards that I chose, and I basically chose like Grixis colors. I did not choose any green, and I did not choose any white.
Literally all of my cards like together make Jeskai, and that's only because Nico Aris is an Azorius planeswalker.
Yeah.
Everything else is Boros.
I mean,
I have a brand.
So, one of the gods that I chose was Burgi, God of Storytelling. Burgi is a 3/3 for 2 generic and 1 red. Whenever you cast a spell, add red. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. And creatures you control can boast twice during each of your turns rather than once.
Storm.
No one really cares about the second part.
Storm.
It's Storm. That's
everybody wants.
If you're getting mana for every spell that you cast, holy crap!
Cheerios.
That's amazing. That's so good.
Just fill your deck with Cheerios and 1 mana spells, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, you will just burn. You will burn people alive. I mean, if you have a draw engine for this, obviously, I mean, you're going to start running out of cards if you don't have.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think in the 99, this fits absolutely perfectly in a Joyra deck because it gives you both. Yeah. It gives you both the ramp and the card draw that you need to basically storm off and destroy your opponents.
And we know this card was built in mind towards Boast because your mana doesn't empty. So that way you cast your spells and then you go into your attack step and then now you have this red mana so that you can boast. But it really I don't see a feasible reason to actually go that route. I think at least in Commander.
As a mono red commander, there's only like 2 or 3 boast creatures in red. I don't think any of them are viable in Commander, to be honest.
The funny thing is, on the flip side, this is actually what I enjoy even more, and that's Harnfell, Horn of Bounty, which is 4 generic and 1 red, legendary artifact, and it reads, discard a card, exile the top 2 cards of your library, you may play those cards this turn. It's just draw, and I know exactly what deck this is going into when I get Borka. It. It's going, it's going into my Chainer deck.
Oh yeah, no, this is
Um,
amazing Enchanter.
yeah, it's a discard enabler and it's draw, so it's perfect. And it's super, super, super good. I am excited about this card. I love that Burgie is like in the card art. She's doing this like little jazz hands number,
Yeah,
doing a
she's like,
box step.
yeah, she's like,
She's
she's like, let me tell you the tea, let me tell you the story. Like, I've got tales for you. Sit down, sit your ass down.
right. Like she's gonna give you, she's gonna serve you some stories.
She's
And
the life of the party.
I'm very excited about this card. I know that someone out there is probably going to break this card, at least the God side, so that you are able to just. I mean, actually, you could totally break the Horn side too, because you just keep on discarding cards. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Now I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to like get both sides out, like Burgie and then the Hornfell.
Um, if you play Burgie, copy her with like Sakashima, and then like replay her from the command zone as the whatchamacallit, as the horn.
I guess yeah, that would work. That would be like the only,
Or you could
not the only, but
flickering. I think resets it as well.
anyways, because like if Burgie and Hornfell together, because you're discarding and you can play the cards and like you're able to, keep your Cheerios going. Ooh, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm gonna go to my next god, and that is going to be Turgrid, God of Fright.
Oh, you monster.
I know. She is just degenerate.
Okay,
She is
wait,
evil.
wait. Let me just say, neither of us chose a single green card.
I know, which is hilarious.
We don't play green in this house.
Which is funny because when I first met you, you were a mono green player.
I know. I loved elves so much.
You know what we call that? Not growth. Anyways, yeah, I didn't choose any green because one in the first prompt of choosing a favorite card, I didn't really like any of the green cards that
Yeah,
much.
me
More
neither.
like I'd like something else more than the green card.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the gods, like there's not that many good green ones.
The only green god that I kind of like is Kolvori, and that's like more legendary tribal stuff.
And I only really like Jorn because he's hot. So
Oh yeah, Jorn's a daddy.
anyways, Turgrid, God of Fright, serving us with this side part. Is this a side part or is this a fucking undercut? Anyways, she looks gorgeous. She's the God of Fright. She is 3 generic and 2 black for a 4/5 god with menace. And whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. And also, I just have to mention this. Her flavor text, fear is her one true companion. She's a fierce ass bitch. And
That's so emo.
I love that she can be built either discard heavy or you can build her aristocrats heavy or you can do a little hybrid of both, but she has options. She is going to be great either as the commander or as part of the 99. I can see her with Sir Conrad because that'd be even like more amazing shenanigans. She is a powerhouse, and I mean, granted she's for 5, but she's a 4/5, so she's not going to be super easily removed. Granted, she'll be, you can poison her cup and she'll die, but even then, the fact that she can take things from your opponents when they sacrifice them or when they are discarding them, like you could wheel and take all their crap. All of their like burnished heart, that's yours now. So it's super good. So on her flip side, Turgrid's lantern, she turns into a lantern, super cute. It's 3 generic and 1 black, and it has the activated abilities of tap it, target player loses 3 life unless they sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card, and 3 generic and 1 black to untap Turgrid's lantern.
It's a torment of hellfire on an artifact, and I've never hated anything more.
It's so good.
Even though Torment of Hellfire is a win con in some of my decks, I don't think
It's just.
I mean, okay, like I might actually play Turgrid in my Gonti deck because I like stealing things.
On one. Okay, so
But
this is what I love about this card. The thing I love about this card is that it is not a cut and dry, straightforward, this is what you're going to build. You're not going to. If you go on the EDH rec, you're not going to see the same. Like, there's going to be a wide array of cards because you could, like I said, you could build it aristocrats, you could build it discard heavy, or you could just go play Turgid's Lantern side and make it a mono black, like let's make a shit ton of mana and kill everybody. Because with 4 mana and able to untap the Lantern, you could wipe out the entire board if you generate infinite mana, which is not altogether impossible in mono black.
Not at all. Like any combo with Ashnod's Altar, like, can do it for you.
Hmm. So I'm excited about this card. It is super degenerate. It's also high, high on the power scale, and I can understand if people don't like it for that
I don't think
reason.
it's high on the power scale. Like, I wouldn't say it's like CEDH levels, but I would say it would fall into the category of like the kind of unfun commanders that people generally avoid, like Tevesh Zot or some of the other creatures. It's Tevesh Zot. Her and Tevesh Zot. They both steal things and don't make the opponents feel good. So that might be a reason that people avoid her.
That's fair.
Which actually makes sense because she is the god of fright.
Yeah, she scares people, and that's what she's supposed to do.
Boo.
Boo. Well, anyways, thank you for listening to our podcast. We have reviewed our Kaldheim
Mm-hmm.
favorites and then some of the gods.
Yeah.
Any last words to share, to impart?
No, just thanks so much for listening. And you can find me at Ralph Does Magic on Twitter. And you can find the podcast at the Partner Pod on Twitter. And
Mm-hmm.
Jazz, where can we
You can
find?
find me on Twitter at Jazzworth,
Yes,
and we're super excited. We're Thank you so much for coming and listening to us, spending your day with us.
your whole day. We've just been
Mm-hmm.
sitting here doing a jigsaw puzzle. Thank you.
Yeah.
I should finish that jigsaw puzzle. Anyway, we love you.
Bye.
Bye.